What's up guys, my name's Christian, welcome to my channel, and my accent came out there, and I wanted to make a video about something that has really resonated with me, especially over the past few months, and that is ending the cycle. And this video is inspired by the latest God of War game, and that game, a major theme in that game is centered around ending the cycle of patricide, which is, at least in that game specifically, sons killing their fathers. But I think patricide is just kids killing their parents in general. But anyway, I think the idea of ending cycles is something that can resonate with all of us, whether we know it or not, because whether we know it or not, we're all stuck in at least some kind of cycle. Just by our very human nature, we're all stuck in a cycle of sin, and that's not even to mention the other things that branch out from that we might end up stuck in. And I think the idea of ending the cycle of whatever we're stuck in is an idea that we often think can't be achieved. And there are some cycles that maybe we can't end. But I want to at least share what I've learned. And something I've come to conclusion about over the past few months is that whatever cycle we're in needs to end, because if it doesn't end, we're going to just pass it on to our children, and the cycle's going to continue. And if it doesn't end with us, there's a good chance that it will never end. So we need to make sure that whatever cycle we're stuck in ends with us, if it can truly be ended. And what about cycles such as depression, which are primarily, at least from genetics, and things that have no end or cure, I guess, for uh, depression anyway. What about things that have no specific way to end? Well, I've come to the conclusion that even though we can't end the cycle, we can learn to live despite them. We can learn to overcome them on a daily basis. And we can teach our descendants to overcome them on a daily basis. And excuse me if this just goes on to become rambling. I'm kind of just playing it by ear. I didn't come up with any kind of script. I'm just speaking solely from the heart. But anyway, as I was saying earlier, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, the cycles that we're stuck in that are not good for us, whether it be depression, whether it be the cycle of abuse, whether it be the cycle of drug use, alcohol use, whatever cycle we're in, we need to make sure it ends with us. We need to be better than those before us, as the game teaches, because, as I said, there's a very good chance that if it doesn't end with us, it won't end. And even if it will end eventually in the future, we're still going to pass that cycle on to our kids and possibly their children, and so on and so forth, if it doesn't end with us. So we're just going to bring more pain onto people who don't deserve it. So, and I think the idea of ending cycles is something that often seems so foreign to us, because we become so stuck in those cycles that it seems impossible to end the cycle, and it seems impossible to even deal with it. And because of that, a lot of us, depending on what cycle we're stuck in and how severe it is, it could lead to suicidal thoughts, it could lead to trying suicide, it could lead to homicidal thoughts, and it could lead to just a bunch of bad things. And I dealt with, honestly, both of those thoughts for a long time. And because of my struggle with mental illness, I don't know if this cycle is one that I can overcome, in the sense of being completely free from it and just never thinking those thoughts. But something, as I'm going to reiterate, something I've learned is that I can live despite it. I can overcome it every day. I can teach my children how to live and prosper, and teach other people how to deal with their cycles and overcome them if they're cycles that could be overcome. And I can turn something that has plagued my family for generations, and you can turn something that has plagued your family possibly for generations into a blessing. And think the idea of turning something as bad as cycles that are so all encompassing into blessings is an awesome thought. The idea of being able to say, I was able to live despite you and turn everything that you wanted to be destruction for me into a blessing is an amazing thing for us to be able to say. But in order to be able to say that, we've got to try to end the cycle. We can't be afraid of failure. We can't, well, yes, we could be afraid of failure, but we can't let that fear overcome us. We can't let the idea of it's impossible to end this overcome us. Because, as I've said multiple times, if it doesn't end with us, when will it end? There's a very good chance it won't. So, I just want to encourage you guys to be the ones that end the cycle. I've made it my goal ever since I started watching God of War playthroughs. I haven't played the game myself. But, well, it was kind of my goal before, but it's become my goal much more lately since I started watching those playthroughs and watching God of War, because it's just been put into perspective for me a lot more. So the whole takeaway from this video is don't become ensnared eternally in the cycle that you're possibly stuck in. End it with you, and don't end it by killing yourself. Don't end it by killing anyone else. End it by living. End it by prospering. End it by teaching your descendants to do the same. It doesn't have to end in the way that your mind tries to tell you that it has to end. It can end differently. And if we truly want to end it once and for all one day, it has to end that way. Because if we end it in our deaths, if we end it in another person's death, all of that pain that will be brought onto others is just going to continue that cycle through them. So end it through living, end it through prospering, and end it through relying on others and not pushing others away. So that's the takeaway from this. I hope you guys get something out of this video, and I hope you choose to end the cycle, as I am struggling to do. Don't know how to do, but I'm striving to do so. I hope you guys do the same. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless. I'll see you in the next one.